Greetings, everyone. This is Mike Wright, the Astro Sherpa, dropping in with a spatial report. We have the moon coming up on Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. So this moon is illuminating your spiritual path ahead and the healing necessary for you to reach a new dimension. So I'm getting ready to show you two major secrets of the underworld. Yeah, I'm going to show you two of Pluto's top secrets. So we're going to crack open the underworld so that we can all resonate to a higher plane. So yes, are you ready? Focus your mind, take a deep breath and relax. So the outer world wants you to be fired up so you can't focus your will and determination to discover who you really are, where your real power lies. And it's in the heart. Just to give you a little shortcut. When we marry, the father, mother, sun, moon, into our heart space, this opens up big dimensions. We free the dead. This is tapping from the root energy into the earth and the past, where we can elevate and open our mind to the future. So we're gonna show you all kinds of things. I mean, just mind-blowing stuff right now is being revealed. Uranus is in the mood to show us revelations. When Jupiter meets Uranus in the spring next year, that's 5-6 months away, this is gonna bring just intense understanding and huge wealth of power, energy, just if you're grounded and you're whole by that time, you will have the key to the new world. So, if you're ready to see the secrets of Pluto and the underworld, number one, we're going to show you how to go from the underworld to the overworld. And then I'm going to show you how the visible becomes invisible, including potentially you, how you become invisible. And then we'll show you how the invisible becomes visible. Didn't think that was possible, did you? Well, everything is possible in the new world. And once we show you our little scientific experiments, because they are real, we're going to show you kind of what's going on with these aspects we're all dealing with on the collective side of things. So hold on, let me get this camera situated so we can show you our little Plutonian underworld power. So yeah, this is an immense time of understanding change. How much we're being lit up. So, artificial, natural. You need to learn to distinguish between the two. So, our first trick I'm going to show you is how we create a vortex from one dimension to another, okay? So let's use dense physical matter, a good old just rock, right? Look at this, just big hunk of earth, right? Condensed down. Now this is actually a white quartz with a lot of impurities. So quartz, silica. So when you hear the terms, all standing on the you know, the sand and sea, you know, the infinite amount of sand. So sand is crystals. This is crystallized silica. So these forms have bonded into a unique matrix. So when you hear about escaping the matrix, okay, that's the bonded form of matter condensed into a unique combination of molecules. Okay, so this is primarily quartz, as I said, and it has a resonance frequency, and it's measured. We put this in our table of elements. So the elemental table has every vibrational frequency of matter. So I'm going to show you quartz. This one has titanium in it, titanium silica. And then this one is a feldspar. And then we're going to show you the last one, how we go from the visible to the invisible. So we'll show you that last. But one of Pluto's secret weapons was not the trident, but the bifork. So Pluto carried around a two-pronged fork. Why do you think that was? Well, let's see why that was. That's part of our little thought experiment today. So, if you imagine me as Pluto or Hades, I'm wielding my little pitchfork. Where have you heard that term before? So pitch is the frequency I'm sending out. So this particular fork, pitch fork, is tuned to 174 hertz, which is F. So that's a straight line. If you look at it that way, straight line, but it's duality, okay? So between two things, we create a wave. So it's the wave that is in duality, okay? Important concept. The singularity motion is the line of action from the point to another point. So the point stretching itself out in a line to whatever end point. Now I have a circle on a line, so if we were looking at the Earth and we're all standing here, right? So I'm looking out in space to a point, so I look at the moon or a planet. My point of view is that line up to the planet, and I'm going to show you that a little later, but getting ahead of myself. So this circle is going to strike this line, but since it's two lines, it creates a wave and a sound waves. So my action from this circle into the line has created a wave motion. Now, if I'm at a dense plane and I harmonize myself to this frequency, I can resonate to a higher plane. So if you hear this crystal has picked up the resonance of this tuning fork, pitchfork. So if I take a high frequency and I'm stuck here in matter and I resonate to that, suddenly I'm up here in this dimension, up here, from here. So I go from the underworld to a new dimension, okay? So every different type of matter has different resonance. Colors have different resonance, different powers, different magnitudes. So that's titanium. You know where that word comes from? We've been talking about the Titans, the gods before these planets, which means these outer transpersonal planets. So titanium in our elemental chart is numbered 22, a master number. 22 Titan. That's a correlation. So titanium is a really unique metal, right? So I'm looking at a metal here in a rock, a crystal. So metals are crystal forms too. And now I can take a feldspar, which is the Earth's crust is like 1/3 of the Earth's crust is feldspar, which is a very hard So this is how you're brainwashed, folks. You know, when these frequencies come from the media and you watch it every day, but it's tuned to a specific idea, and then you sit there and watch it all the time, you start resonating to that. And then they play a commercial, which is louder. So it shocks you, it makes you pay attention, it disrupts the flow of your mind. So these are how we sink down into dense form, right? By the frequencies take us down, descending. This is the declination. You know, when we're inclined, we're looking this way. We're ascending our viewpoint. We're vectoring our energy force, and I'm going to show you that. Oh, one last. So we're going to show you how to take the visible lead and turn it into the invisible lead crystal. Okay, so that's glass. Now this one's cut to give us reflections of light, but lead crystal is clear. So I think it was Venice, Italy. I'll have to look that up. But lead crystal was alchemy, turning lead into gold. This is gold. So crystal sat on, you know, every great king's table. This was, I'm taking the visible and making it invisible, where I can see right through it. So that's the power of blending elements. Lead into lead crystal, which is silica, sand. So sand and lead. So somebody created this. That's a creation. Very, very cool. So metals and crystals, you know, if you make fun of people talking about, you know, got their crystal shop and all their little crystals and they're doing this and that, it does have resonant energy. And it affects the frequencies in your body because we have frequency ranges in each center. So this is for you to tune up and feel the resonant energy, what is yours and what's coming from the outer world, so you know how you're being controlled. So in these religious scriptures, they talk about these intense energies and sealing your forehead, your third eye, and your hand, right? So our hands are what grasp energy. And literally we get all these little lines on our hands. People read the future from that. We have 12 digits on these 4 fingers, so I can count 24 hours right there with my thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do it again. So we have the power in our imagination to, you know, see ourselves in different dimensions. You've just been trained your whole life to see everything in a linear, flat world. Yeah, flat Earth. So the reason time is super funky, I'm going to get ready to show you that. So we experience time in many different ways. So let's show you this. I'll get reset up here and turn this around so I can show you this next chart. So the moon coming over Neptune was this spiritual fresh water, fresh cup of water, and the moon starting here through Aries is your spiritual journey and starting on that path. When the moon hits Chiron, the wounded healer, and then the North Node, this will reveal your journey. Absolutely will. So we do have this tense aspect coming up between Jupiter and the Sun at 13 degrees. So this is this tense point of your heart wanting to go forward and experience this new world, but we're still tied to all this old world programming and the dark and ugly stuff that hasn't fallen away yet, the corruption. That's going to take some time, but we can all speed up this process by resonating together harmony, freedom, okay? We can all get our power back and move forward where we can put good quality harmonious communities together and not be fighting and separating into classes and periods, you know, and times and, you know, colors. These are all just separations of power to make you weaker. So we're looking at Venus retrograde, okay? And what does that mean? Through Leo, right here. And that's coming on Black Moon Lilith, which is the furthest point on the moon's ecliptic where it's literally darkest. And our emotions, we just don't want to feel them. That's where the Stoic philosophy came in. I don't want to feel. I'm just going to be an observer. Scientific observer watching the poor beast, you know, get slaughtered and how they respond and react and hear their screams and pains and, you know, just see the ignorance that they could all avoid by just opening their eyes and tuning into their senses. It's your bestial nature that keeps you trapped in these patterns and loops, and the moon is the trigger of that. That triggers your emotional patterns. You know, Mars and Venus trigger our passions. Yeah, that's where energy moves in and out. The sun is what charges us up. So we get a full view every year. The sun highlights every degree in this circle. And relationships, we're constantly getting new points of view, always, constantly. But we get similar points of view because of these relationships. They come into the same angle, same plane, so we see the same circumstances or similar. But all this, the reason why astrology gets a bad rap, you know, from many different structures is because, one, it's predictive. Two, it's seeing the invisible and making it visible. So that's hard to correlate with facts. But there's an immense amount of math involved here. And when you leave out parts of the equation you don't see, then yeah, your coordinates and understanding of the images being projected are going to be off. So here's where we see that. So this big picture is the relationship of each one of these planets to the central source of power. So Mercury's the inner planet, which handles our communications and mindset. Mercury retrogrades the most because it's the closest planet. Venus is next. Then we have the Earth and then Mars. So from this perspective, Venus retrograde, Venus is as closest to the Earth right here. Look how close it is. So we're feeling each other's presence in time-space. So the gravitational force of these spin velocities affect each other right here. So as the Earth moves forward, looks like Venus is still lagging behind us, and then once we get right there, now Venus starts looking like it's going forward again. And there you go. So that's what Venus in the underworld is, okay? So when we saw the Venus-Mars conjunction from the Earth's point of view, this is looking in this line. Now, if we wanted, from Earth's point of view, if we were on Venus's frequency and we wanted to elevate ourselves up here to the point of view of Mars, so we have to look at the incline or decline from the ecliptic plane. Okay, this is important because one planet, if it's higher than the other, that means there's a little power difference. So if they're on the exact same plane, that is an exact conjunction, but usually they're slightly off in an incline or decline. One's slightly higher than the other. So these, if you don't take that into consideration, you're gonna make an inaccurate coordination. So that's why, you know, these people that just look at this chart without considering anything else. You just learn Aries is a fire sign, cardinal energy, that means change. This first part of Aries is 0 to 9, blah, 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 blah. So these are lower frequencies of understanding that you're getting your information from. So to elevate yourself to a new plane, new vector of understanding, you gotta see this world in new dimensions. Fifth dimension is looking at things like from all these perspectives and like super close, super far away. All right, so when I'm standing here on the Earth, let's go right here, East Coast, and I look up at Jupiter, okay? So the angle for me, and this Earth is tilted, by the way, so those who use sidereal Eastern astrology, they're looking at the angle from here straight, not the Earth's tilt included, and that's why Western takes that into account. So we're looking at, from this point of view, I look up, and then I measure from our equator, right here, from that point, I can measure up to this planet as well. So I have 3 points, a triangle. Now from the angle, I can now measure the distance and the size and magnitude of what I'm looking at. And then I measure it from the ecliptic, which is the moon, this moon path around our Earth. Okay, so from there to there, if it's above the ecliptic, this is light coming in. Okay, so I'm seeing images from the future. When it's declined beneath, like over here, if I'm below the ecliptic, I'm seeing light from the past. So So decline. Now, as far as experiencing time differently, if I'm down here in Brazil or the Amazon jungle, right on the equator, 1 degree of arc, right here, so the time it takes to go 1 degree is different than if I was up here at the North Pole. So 1 degree of arc is only from here to here, or here to here, versus here to here. So we all experience time in relative to our position, my unique point or your unique point in space, time. So time is relative to you, not anybody else. Now when two things can be in the same space, and this can magnify energy. So it's also shown that one particle can be in 2 time spaces. That is that resonance energy we showed you earlier with the tuning fork. So when I started that motion and it goes down the line to the circle, it resonated from above down to below. So if you saw me as this higher being and I started something in vibration motion, and then the line touched it down to the physical matter, that matter, you heard it vibrating to the frequency I started into motion. I. What is I? You'll have to figure I out for yourself. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson in how to dimension hop and time is relative and how to escape the underworld and Pluto's secrets. Any way you go, find your place in time, space, and resonate some beautiful energy. When we all resonate, this circle expands outwards. It gets bigger. Any way you go, I hope you're well. Astro Sherpa out.